seeds of joy in every row. Come on down, we'll show you how what's fresh and green is growing now. At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows. Tomatoes ripe, peppers bright, tips for keeping blooms in sight. Let's make your backyard glow. Tools and plants, advice for free. Bob's is where you want to be. At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, here at our new time at 1 p.m. on Thursdays. And, well, this week I have a little bit of a shorter show for you, and that's because I'm kind of in a little bit of a transition right now. We're moving, the show to 1 p.m., but also I have a ton of video to edit from the summer. So I've kind of alluded to it that we're going to be sharing some video from my vacation over the summer. I shot some stuff specifically for it. And hey, I see some folks are joining. Susie Q says, "Hi, Bob." Well, this is John, but hey, Bob's Market. Yep. And I see Carol's joined us. Hi, Carol. Anyhow, I thought we would head out to the greenhouse today and take a look at what's growing out there. And then I actually have something interesting that I want to share right here in my office. So I'm going to give you a view that you've never really seen before. Sometimes I do like planting stuff right here in my office where we kind of look toward the windows. I'm actually going to show you a different view, which is actually what I see behind my monitors right here. But we're going to take a look at something here in my office a little bit later that I think is pretty cool. So let's first jump in and take a look at what's growing out in the greenhouse. Today I am out here in the greenhouse where we have this year's pansy crop. So all of these flats have been transplanted from seedling plugs, and over the next few weeks they'll start blooming and heading out to our stores. In this first section we can start to see some of the blooms starting to pop. They are just beautiful. Pansies will be heading out to our store locations soon. We already have mums, flowering cabbage and kale, and we're starting to get more fall items in every day. So over the next few weeks, fall is definitely arriving at Bob's Market. And that's a quick look at what we have growing in the greenhouse. And yeah, it was definitely quick. The ending caught me a little bit off guard. And I just edited the video like a half hour ago. Anyhow, up next, I thought we would take a look at the weather because we're finally getting some rain. It has been so dry recently. But yeah, we've got a little bit of rain. I know looking outside right here, the sidewalk is actually damp, which is nice. We've been needing it. There we go. I lost my mouse for a second. Currently, it is 67 outside, which is downright chilly compared to the weather we've been having. And if we take a look at the long-term forecast, let me jump down here. It's going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow, and then we're going to drop back down into the 60s on Saturday with more rain. So looks like it's going to be a damp day on Saturday, which for me, I've got some work to do in the garage, so that's going to be nice. 70, it's also going to be a cool day. This time of year with these cooler days is excellent to get outside and do some work and get things ready for fall. Whether it's cleaning out your garden, which I also need to do. It looks pretty bad. I was gone for like 20 days over the summer. I expected it would get weedy, but not quite as weedy as it did. So we're looking at 70 degrees on Sunday. And then next week, of course it reloads right as I click on it. Next week, we're looking at temperatures in the 70s, gradually increasing throughout the week up to around 80 toward the end of the week. But we're looking at overall a sunny week. So we're getting a little bit of moisture now, but it's going to be short-lived. And that's kind of standard for this area. Our falls tend to be kind of on the drier side. And well, if you're looking for gardening tasks, to kind of give you an idea of what's happening in the garden, as soon as I find my mouse here, I have 3 monitors, and yeah, it's easy to lose my mouse. If you're looking for kind of an up-to-date weather forecast going into the weekend, and then also weekly gardening tasks, check out our podcast, the Keep Growing Podcast. It goes out every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., and it's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on YouTube if you're watching here on YouTube. I know Susie had commented earlier, she's over on YouTube. The podcast goes live there at 8 a.m. And then we're also on Amazon, so if you have an Alexa, you can, somehow get it to work and do that. Hopefully I didn't trigger anybody's just now. And then it's also available on iHeartRadio. So you can check out our podcast in all of those different places. And what we cover is the gardening tasks for the week ahead, specifically for our region here in the Mid-Ohio Valley. So we take a look at things that you could be planting right now, different maintenance tasks for your garden, and then we also take a look at the weather, and then we also cover the moon phase each week. So I know a lot of old-timer gardeners, if you talk to them, they garden according to the moon phase. And yeah, I've tried it, and I don't know. It has varying success, I guess you could say. But yeah, that is every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And, well, let's jump into the next thing that I wanted to cover this week. And it actually has to do with my birthday. So my birthday was a few weeks ago. And something that I always do, I'm older, I'm an adult, I have adult money. I can buy myself a birthday present. So that's something that I always do. And this year I bought something cool, and it actually goes along with something in my office that ties in with my career. So of course here at Bob's, I manage all of our computer stuff. But, we're also a greenhouse. And one of my other hobbies is I love space stuff. So whether it's SpaceX, NASA, whatever, I like to collect space memorabilia. And specifically things that are tied directly to space. So if it's something that's flowing in space, I like it. Um, or if it's something that was used at NASA, something like a piece of equipment that I can actually buy. eBay is a great place to find stuff like this. That's what I tend to collect. So let me flip the camera around and we'll take a look at what I'm talking about. So this is going to take me a few seconds because I need to move this boom mic over to the other side of my desk. And then we also need to switch to a different camera. So I'm going to go mute this mic and then go to a little standby screen for a second while I get everything flipped around here. Okay, we are just about done here. Let me switch to camera 2. And of course, it is facing the ground. That's not good. Okay, there we go. I caught the cable for it with my microphone as I was moving it. Okay, I should have really moved some stuff out of the way here. Hopefully you can hear me good. Shoot me a little thumbs up if you can see and hear me okay. Anyhow, here on my wall behind me, I have a circuit board that came from NASA. So this is an Apollo era circuit board, and it was actually used in the flight simulators for the Apollo missions. And I found it on eBay. What was fun was tracking down all the information about it. First of all, where do you go to find information on a random circuit board from the 1960s from NASA? And what I ended up doing was posting it on Reddit, on the NASA subreddit, and actually got in touch with a person at Greenbrier or Green Bank Observatory, where they actually use a computer that uses these cards. And he sent me all the technical files on it, and then from there, another person that used to work at NASA was able to fill me in on what exactly that computer card did and what it was used for. And yeah, it was used in the flight simulators at NASA. And basically, what they did is the guidance computer that they used on the ships, they were marvels at the time. They were like the size of a suitcase. To replicate that with off-the-shelf equipment, though, took like an entire room of computers. And this is just one small card with an off-the-shelf system. And this card right here is actually 4 bits of data. So it's a 4-bit flip card that they would have used in a rack of similar cards in order to do a function. So that kind of gets computing side of NASA, which I'm, IT manager here. The other thing that I got that's going to be framed and go right here next to this card has to do with the greenhouse side of what I do. So for my birthday this year, I happened to find online a pack of seeds. And I'm holding it up to the camera here. Hopefully it's focusing on it. There's a delay on my feed, so might take me a second to see myself here hold it up. But basically this is a pack of space flowing seeds. So these seeds, they were They were from Park Seed, and they flew on a mission called LDEF, the Long Duration Exposure Facility. Yeah, that was right. NASA loves their acronyms for stuff. So the LDEF, the Long Duration Exposure Facility, it was basically a satellite that they launched out of the space shuttle. And it flew from April 6th, 1984 to January 20th, 1990 when it was retrieved. So this spent, what would that be? Almost 7 years in orbit around the Earth. This little pack of tomato seeds. And what they did is the LDEF had a bunch of different experiments on it. It was originally slated, though, to fly for just 1 year, or about a year and a half. The reason why it was up there for so long is it was launched on the Space Shuttle Challenger. And if any of you know NASA history, the Space Shuttle Challenger, unfortunately, was lost. It blew up during launch. And because of that, LDEF got kind of stranded in orbit. Schedule slipped, and it didn't get retrieved until 1990, and it was retrieved on the Space Shuttle Columbia. So, yeah, kind of makes this kind of heavy to hold, thinking of that both crafts that it flew on were ultimately lost. But yeah, it's just an interesting little bit of NASA history, and I don't know, it maybe has 10 or 15 tomato seeds in it. What they did is they had large canisters of seed that were kind of stacked into this cube area on the ship, on the LDEF, and then they took those and packaged them into these little packages, and they sent them to schools, universities, and researchers all over the world. And something like 8,000 research papers ended up being published based off of these space-flowing seeds. And they discovered some really interesting stuff, like that these seeds actually germinated faster than the control seeds, and they tend to have more vigor than the control seeds. Of course, these now are close to 40 years old. So I don't think they would germinate now if you tried to germinate them. Some might, I don't know. But yeah, it's a really cool piece of NASA history here. And, it ties in perfectly with what I do here at Bob's. And let me flip everything back around here. And we get back onto the main camera. Okay, there we go. Now we're back to the main camera, which means now I can look at the comments. Yeah, there's okay. Yeah, some interesting comments from YouTube. Yeah, Mati Kabat. Okay. Yeah, he's commenting on our pansies. Okay, cool. But yeah, that is a little bit of interesting history about NASA, LDF, and the seeds. If you'd like, something that I'm thinking about doing, I'll probably get around to it once I get it all framed and everything. Um, I'll do a little blog post on our blog about it because there's some interesting history and information that I can get into a little bit more in depth about space flowing seeds and agriculture in space. Um, this was kind of the first phase of growing plants or sending plant material to space. And since then, they've grown plants on the International Space Station. They've actually grown vegetables that they have harvested to eat. Of course, it's not a ton of vegetables, but they've grown a few little lettuce leaves for a salad, a tomato or two, and things like that on the International Space Station. And of course, that's all looking forward to when we have, one of these days, a permanent outpost, say on the moon or eventually on Mars. And it's pretty cool stuff. And that is all that I have for this week. So until next time, keep growing.
Got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show.